this computer, it's awesome and everything, but I think it's time to build a new one. Hey everybody, Hayden here and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about some computer technology jargon, so if that stuff doesn't interest you, I'm just going to save you the time and say you probably won't enjoy this video, so you can jump on over to one of my other ones if that's something that you prefer. Now, as of recently, within the last few weeks, I started doing a little bit of gaming and streaming more regularly. Up until now, this computer has been an absolute workhorse. This thing has been insane. It has done everything that I've needed it to do and then some, but gaming is not one of its strong points, and here is why. This computer was built by one of my friends a while ago, a few years back I believe, and this was built as a video editing computer. Now, the main difference between video editing computers and gaming computers is the graphics card, really. Because video editing computers use mainly the CPU, or the central processing unit of the computer, whereas gaming computers rely more heavily on the GPU, or the graphics processing unit. Now, because this one is built for video editing, it's got a really strong i9 processor in it from Intel. However, it has only got a NVIDIA 780 Ti graphics card. Now, for those of you who don't know, the modern graphics cards that we use these days, whatever I'm trying to say, they're all up in the 4 digits. So you've got the 16 series, which is your entry level, and you've got the 20 series, which is your more high-end professional level, with 30 series, the ones that's just been announced, and they will be coming out. Well, they're already out, but there's a whole bunch of issues, and who knows what's going on with them. But those are your main graphics cards. They're 4 digits, like the 2080 Ti or the 3070 and etc. Mine is 780. 3-digit graphics cards, they're old school, they're old news. And I never really was into big games and all that, so honestly this graphics card, I never pushed it that hard. But now I'm starting to get into gaming again, and PUBG will not run. Call of Duty Warzone will not run. Overwatch runs, but I have to drop down a lot of the graphics to a lower level. There is a bunch of modern games that I want to play and I want to put on my streams, but I just simply cannot, because what will happen is very quickly the graphics card will ramp up to 100% usage. It will flatline at 100, increasing its temperature significantly, and then it just starts dipping out and crashing, and it is unusable for anything. So, I think I'm going to teach myself how to build a computer, because A, building a computer yourself is an awesome way to learn new skills, and it's fun. It makes it a lot more enjoyable because you know you built the thing as long as it works. And 2, I've been watching a hell of a lot of YouTube videos on how to build computers, and I think I might be able to do it myself. We'll see. But I'm going to run through a few more specs of what this current computer's got. I'm going to run through a few basic specs on what I think I'm going to be choosing for my new one, and once I build the computer, we'll do a little bit of a comparison to see how much better this thing really is. Okay. Now you'll have to forgive me, I am using a little cheat sheet here because I've totally forgotten all the specs on this computer. It's been so long since I've got it. Alright, so right off the bat, I just realized I lied. This does not have an i9 processor, it has an i7. Still really decent central processing unit for the computer, but not quite as good as the i9, obviously, because I don't know what the bottom of my fingers. This thing also has Corsair CPU liquid cooling. Now, it's not the full proper liquid cooling system that some people run. This is just the AIO, or the all-in-one unit, which is a little radiator fan which cools down water and just passes water through the CPU. keep it nice and cool so it doesn't overheat. She came with 32 gigs of RAM. I've already cooked half of that because reasons, I don't know. So I'm actually down to 16 gigs of RAM now. It has a 700 watt power supply unit, the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 780 Ti graphics card, a 120 gigabyte SSD or solid state drive, and 6 terabyte hard drive, which is split between 3 separate 2 terabyte drives. So that's basically what I'm running right now. It's a good computer all around. The only real letdown is the graphics card, which now I'm starting to feel it. And honestly, I could just replace the graphics card and make this thing work. But a lot of the technology and a lot of things in this computer are already a few years old. So if I'm already going to be spending the money and time to upgrade one component, I figured I may as well just upgrade the whole thing, modernize it, so then it's going to be future-proof for another few years. And I don't have to worry about upgrading anything else or have other components die, because I have had some issues where I think the power supply might be choking out and dying, and it causes the computer to restart on certain games when you try to push it, like on Battlefield. But better be safe than sorry. Alrighty, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a few specs I've got saved on here on my phone of what I'm planning to build for this next iteration of my computer, which will still be a very powerful computer in terms of the processor and RAM speed and RAM capacity, a bit of both. So it'll be very good for video editing, but I'll also be investing a bit more money in the graphics card so that it will be able to keep up and play all these good games. Now, I'm not aiming for top of the range. A lot of people, when I tell you what graphics card I'm going to go with, they'll say, "Oh, why didn't you just wait a little bit longer and go with the new 30 series graphics cards? They'll be sick." Well, look, yes, they will be sick, but they've already had a lot of issues if you've been paying attention. In terms of overheating and not performing at the right levels. There have been bots that have been buying all of the cards up for resellers, and there's been a whole bunch of delays. It's really hard to get your hands on them at the moment. Anything modern will be better than what I've got now. So keep that in mind when I tell you what graphics card I'm going with. Everything I'm going to say is in order of price. I'm going to start with the most expensive component and work our way down to the bottom. First up, for the CPU, I'll be running an AMD Ryzen 3900X. Now this is right up there near the top of the AMD line. I was originally planning on 3950X, which was a lot more expensive. But honestly, I think that would have been a bit overkill for what I was needing, especially seeing as this is already quite a significant leap up from the i7 processor I'm running in my computer now. So that will be the main base of the computer, being the most expensive part. Next up, the GPU, the graphics card. I will be choosing, at the moment, a Gigabyte GeForce RTX 2070 Super. Now the 2070 Supers is pretty much the highest level you can get in the 2070 before you step up to the 2080. The 2080 up until recently was the highest level of NVIDIA graphics cards you could get. So there's like 2060s, 2060 Ti's, 2070, 2070 Super, 2080, 2080 Ti's. And there's also obviously the Titan cards, which they're on another level again. And then this year we had the new RTX cards. There's 3070, 3080, 3090 off the top of my head, I think that's right. They're all going to be new ones, but again, really hard to get a hold of, and there's been a whole bunch of issues with them, with the aftermarket companies not using the right components, and we're not going to get into that right now. Okay, now the motherboard that I'm going to be going with is, motherboard's basically the basis of the entire computer. All the components plug into that, so you need to have a good foundation. I'm going with a Gigabyte X570 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi. The main reason is it has lots of USB ports on the back of it, which are important to me. It also supports USB Type-C on the internal connectors, which is going to be important because my case has USB Type-C connectors on it, so I want to be able to use them. English good, yeah. So that's the only reason I really went with that one. Next up, I've got a couple of I wouldn't call it SSDs because they're not actually SSDs, they're M.2 memory chips. I'm going with two M.2 sticks. I've got a 1 terabyte, which is going to be my scratch disk, which is what I can import footage onto, edit on, and then move it back away into storage. And I'm also going to be going with a 500 gig M.2 stick, which will be what my operating system is installed on. Next up, PSU, power supply unit. I'm going with a Corsair RM750 Gold. 750 watt power supply, that's where the number 750 comes from in the product number name thing. I went with that because it's fully modular, so whatever things I'm not needing to power, like hard drives and SSDs, because I'm not going to have any, you don't need to use the cables. You only plug in the cables that you're going to use. It means there's less unused stuff in there, a bit tidier, easier to use. Also 750 watts gives me a lot of headroom. My current build is only estimated to draw about 450 watts. If you overspec your power supply, it means your power supply can run at a much more comfortable level, not be pushing it right to the maximum all the time, and you're just going to have yourself a bit of headroom, so it's going to be safer. CPU cooling. Now this is an important one because without a CPU cooler, you'll blow up your CPU. That's the brain of your computer gone. So I'm going with an NZXT Kraken X53 240mm AIO cooler. So that's similar to what I've got in this one already. It's an AIO cooler, which is a little radiator fan that draws in air, cools the water, and has a little water pump that sends the water back and forth between the reservoir and the CPU. This is just a newer one. It's got some cool little LED lighting things you can customize. RAM or memory, I'm going to be going with 32 gigabytes of the G-Skill Sniper 3600 megahertz. 32 gigs, good solid amount. It's a fast stick, 3600. It can always go faster, but I don't think I need to really. So I'm going with 3600, just good quality, fast RAM. Bit overkill for mainly gaming, but if I do the video editing, it'll make that a breeze, so go with that. My case is going to be a Be Quiet Pure Bass 500 DX RGB. Now, I wanted this entire build to be a stealth silent build, so I went for Be Quiet case because A, it's in the name of the company, Be Quiet, so they're very silent, insulated cases that don't make a lot of noise. B, this thing looks sick. Although it has the word RGB in it, I'm not going to be doing a stupid RGB build with all red, green, blue flashing lights, make it all stupid. This thing has a pair of LED strips that go down the front face, very minimalistic. I'm going to have them as nice, this faint little lighting. Now on the inside of the case there is an LED strip that runs around the window that you can use to look in through the side. Again, I'll have it like a nice dim little warm lighting, something subtle. So it'll look cool without being stupid and bleh. Finally, I'm adding in a few additional Be Quiet Pure Wings 2 140mm fans because the case comes with a couple of fans already, but you can add more in. So I'm going to deck out as many fans as I can from the Be Quiet range so I have maximum airflow. I think off the top of my head I'm going to be having 3 fans on the front face of the case. The top of the case will just have the AIO cooler, which will be drawing air down. So if you can imagine, if this is the front of the case, you've got 3 fans pulling air in this way. You can have the 2 fans up here on the top, which are pulling air down in through the cooler. And then there'll be one big fan on the back that's pulling all the air through, so you get nice airflow throughout, keeping all the components cool, because if they overheat then they blow up and then you cause a fire and then you don't have a computer and a desk and a house and it sucks. And that is pretty much everything that I'm planning on the build at the moment. Now there are maybe a few little changes between now and then when I actually do buy the components, but at the rate I'm going, I'm probably going to be buying it pretty damn soon because there's so many cool games I want to play and I can't because my computer just bottlenecks on the graphics card and just spits a dummy. And I've got enough money saved up in my like little side savings account that I can just order all the parts and build it, and it doesn't affect my normal savings right now, so guess what I'm going to be doing soon? I'm going to be building a new computer, and it's probably going to not work, but I'm going to try. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll be getting all these components fairly soon. And then when I do, I'll make another video of me laying out all the components, and we might do a quick little video of me actually trying to put it together, and we'll see if it works. That'd be cool. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and like, and if you click the bell icon, then YouTube will tell you when I'm uploading videos, and that's cool, yeah, because you want to see more of that. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, until next time.